Hello, my name's Christina Tobin. I'm the founder of the Free and Equal Elections Foundation, and we're on the Free and Equal Network today here at POLITICON, the Nashville Music Center, and a booth that I've been seeing here the last couple of years at POLITICON. The Center for Election Science is right down the row. And I found Caitlyn, Peña. She's the Director of Operations and Program for the Center for Election Science. Welcome, Caitlyn.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Great to have you. Here at Free and Equal Elections, we are huge fans of alternative voting methods. The current method that we have throughout the United States of America, the singular vote, I feel is really the worst type of voting system we could possibly have. That's been created and implemented into our system by both the Democratic and Republican parties, the two-party system. Today we're going to talk with Caitlyn about the Center for Election Science, the work that they do, a solution, I feel, definitely a solution that's far better than our current voting system of approval voting. So yes. Caitlyn, how long have you been with the center?
Sure, so I actually just started with the Center for Election Science last May. The Center for Election Science has been around since about 2011, 2012. It sprung out of an online community of voting method enthusiasts. And for the first several years that it existed, it was really mostly volunteer run. We didn't have a whole lot of funding. And then in 2017, we were lucky enough to get our first major funding from the Open Philanthropy Project. And that allowed our executive director, Aaron Hamlin, to be brought on full-time. And then he was able to hire me and hire our director of philanthropy as well. And then just this year, a few months ago, we hired our fourth staff member, Chris Raleigh. He is our new director of campaigns and advocacy.
Congratulations. I met Aaron quite a few years ago. He participated in one of our annual electoral reform symposiums in Colorado.
Yeah.
And not only has he been a friend and an ally, but also a supporter. He has supported our efforts. So I thank you, Aaron, so much, and congratulations on the success of having Caitlyn and this team growing for a cause that's so pure to his and all of your hearts, it seems.
Absolutely.
Approval voting, the solution. You can vote for all the candidates you want, and the candidate with the most votes wins. It's a simple tweak that offers enormous benefits. It says here on your card, what's approval voting? For somebody who has absolutely no idea, what is it?
Sure. So most people haven't heard of approval voting. A lot of people, like you mentioned, they don't even realize that the way we vote isn't the default. It's not the only way to vote. So with approval voting, you're able to vote for as many candidates as you want. So vote for all the candidates you support, all the candidates that you think, okay, I would be okay with this person getting elected. And then all of the votes are tallied up, and the candidate with the most votes wins. So it's very simple. You're giving a thumbs up to the candidates you like. Votes are tallied. The one with the most votes wins.
All right, so there's 3 candidates. You vote for them, which ones you like.
Exactly.
A flat vote, pretty much. If you like 2 of the 3, you circle in, X those boxes, and then you add them up, and the one with the most wins.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So that's simple.
Super simple. It's just addition. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, with Free and Equal Elections, we've learned about different sort of voting methods from ranked choice voting. We had a fair vote over here yesterday, and I know there's like score voting, approval voting.
Yep.
What do you feel is the advantage of why voters could choose maybe approval voting over ranked choice voting, for example, or even score voting? Why is it better, or a voting method that you probably prefer?
Since
you work for it.
Right. So like you said at the beginning, we think that our current plurality or singular voting method is the absolute worst voting method there is for any election that has more than 2 candidates, which is almost every election has more than 2 candidates. So what we're dealing with right now is really terrible. We think that ranked choice voting is better than what we have now. why we advocate for approval voting. It's a lot simpler than ranked choice. It's a lot easier to understand, and it's also cheaper to implement. So lots of times with ranked choice voting, you're going to have to upgrade your voting systems, and that can cost a lot of money, and some cities just don't have that money available. Right now, we are working in St. Louis to help activists there get approval voting implemented for their citywide elections. They were going through a process of looking at lots of different voting methods to decide what might work the best. And part of the reason that they didn't go with ranked choice was because they didn't have the money to update their voting methods. Their voting machines. So while we do believe that ranked choice is better than what we've got now, we think that approval voting is a really simple and really effective fix.
It does get rid of that whole wasted vote spoiler effect syndrome, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. So if there are, like in your example, if there are 3 candidates running, one of them might be a third-party candidate who you really like and you really support them, but you're concerned that if you vote for that third-party candidate, you're going to be wasting your vote because you don't think that they're going to be able to win. So you feel pressured into voting for the lesser of 2 evils, right? One of the Democrat or the Republican. With something like approval voting, you can always support your favorite. You can always support that third-party candidate, that independent candidate, and you can vote for one of the front runners. That way you can always show support for your favorite, but you don't have to feel like you're wasting your vote because you still got a say in the outcome of the election and maybe prevented the person that you liked the least from winning.
The director of outreach, Scott, with Fair Vote, mentioned as they are having success with ranked choice voting, catching on throughout the U.S., they're finding that they're getting pushback from Congress and people in office, the legislature. How are you feeling from the approval voting angle? Are you getting support from the people in office or maybe not?
So right now, what we have been doing is we're kind of avoiding the legislatures and the people in office altogether, going straight to the people and just getting this implemented through ballot initiatives. So last year, we helped a group called Reform Fargo in Fargo, North Dakota, conduct a ballot initiative campaign to get approval voting implemented for their citywide elections. The ballot initiative ended up being approved by 64% of voters. So we won in a landslide. It was really exciting. And that just shows that the people on the ground really are hungry for change. People really do want a better system. They recognize that our elections are broken, that there's something wrong, and people want something different. But legislators, they don't always want something different because there's not necessarily an incentive for them to change the system that got them into power, right? So we're finding that going through the ballot initiative process is probably going to be the most effective way for us to make change.
Well, it's been really nice to meet you, and knowing Erin Hamlin, we are launching out and expanding. We've had our United We Stand tour this year, 5 stops: Indiana, Texas, Colorado, Oregon. This is our 5th and final stop this year, and we'll be returning to many of those stops and adding on even more next year. So I'd be super stoked if the Center for Election Science would join us on the tour. We've invited U.S. term limits and Fair Vote and others as well to really be able to reach the masses to implement really this alternative voting methods.
Absolutely.
And I think we should replace a couple hundred members of Congress as well, and maybe all the different levels, right? The federal, the state, the local level, with candidates that support alternative voting methods like approval voting or ranked choice voting or whatever the people in their area support, the kind of voting methods. So
it's really nice to see more candidates coming out in support of alternative methods. I think that the alternative voting method movement is gaining steam, both with ranked choice and with approval voting, and so I'm excited to see where it goes, for sure.
Where do we find you? Where do we find you online, the Center for Election Science? How can we support you?
Absolutely, yeah. You can visit us at our website, electionscience.org. We are also on Facebook, facebook.com/electionscience, and Twitter, at Election Science there. We are always thrilled to get donations, of course, and you can sign up for our email list so that you can stay up to date on what we're doing. We'll inform you about our ballot initiatives. We also have a chapter program that we're starting to get off the ground, which we're really excited about, so that we can empower people in their local communities to start educating and advocating for approval voting and other alternative methods. So definitely get signed up on our email list so that we can fill you in on our chapter program.
Is there any way we can support you, the initiatives? I mean, how difficult are the initiatives to implement for this sort of thing? Just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a 501c3, which means that there is a limited amount of funding that we can put toward things like campaigning and direct lobbying. And so in each of the ballot initiatives that we've worked on, we've had to work, which is a good thing, we've had to work with local groups on the ground there who are C4s, who can do the actual political advocacy side of things while we do the education. So in St. Louis, we're working on a ballot initiative in St. Louis with a group called STL Approves. So I would definitely recommend that people check them out if they might want to donate, or if you're in St. Louis, volunteer on their campaign to collect signatures. That's stlapproves.org.
Well, Caitlyn, Peña, Director of Operations Programs, electionscience.org. You can check them out. They're a nonprofit, 501c3, so support them today. They're doing some mighty good stuff. Yeah. Thank you for joining us at POLITICON. Hope to see you on the United We Stand tour, and see you next year at POLITICON. Maybe here at the Nashville Music Center again.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you're on board. And it's great to have you.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you, Caitlyn,
Appreciate
so much.
Yeah, thanks.